Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond. I am Jeanne Pupke and I serve as the secretary of your board. Our church was founded in 1833 as a liberal Christian community. We are now a community of many faith journeys and beliefs, united in a single covenant of care. Through the years, we have committed ourselves to a threefold journey. Our mission is to seek personal wisdom, to grow, build beloved community, care, and promote justice in the Richmond community and the wider world, act. If you are a visitor here today, we are so glad that you found us in our virtual home, and we look forward to seeing you in person on Blanton Avenue before too long.
We gather to worship, our hearts alive with hope that here we will be truly seen, that here we will be welcomed into the garden of this community where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and frilled, the shy and dramatic complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here each contributes in their way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us worship together, all genders, sexualities, politics, progressive or conservative. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith, compassion and courage, transcendence, justice, and transformation.
This morning's chalice lighting is by the UU minister, the Reverend Meg Barnhouse, entitled The Beauty of the Whole. We gather to worship, our hearts alive with hope, that here we will truly be seen, that here we will be welcomed into the garden of this community, where the simple and the elegant, the fluted and frilled, the shy and dramatic complement one another and are treasured. May we know that here each contributes in their way to the beauty of the whole. Come, let us worship together, all genders, sexualities, politics, progressive or conservative. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith: compassion and courage, transcendence, justice, and transformation.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no yet again come despair. Come, yet again, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, whoever of leaving. Ours is no caravan of despair. Ours is no yet again come despair. Come, yet again come.
Welcome to our service. This is a joint service between the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Las Cruces and the First UU congregation of Richmond, Virginia. We're so happy to be together. This is great. I'm coming to you from my office where I serve as the senior minister. My name is Jeanne Pupke, and I'm glad to be with all of you today. Together with the Reverend Dr. Xolani Kacela, we'll be offering a service on the question of what do we need to do to welcome people when the church leaves the building. It's that time of year where families sometimes say to themselves, we need a church home, except we're not there to greet them. So how will we learn to welcome? How can we welcome? We'll talk about it today. Bring your whole self. It's time for us now to have a time of worship.
I invite you to pray and to meditate with me. God of many names and mystery beyond all our naming, we gather this day, this Sunday, as a people who are the church. We are the congregation, the fellowship, the society, the denomination, the association. We are the ones called as people of faith. We are not bound by walls, beliefs, or doctrine. We are bound by love. Let us say yes to love. Dr. King reminded us of the need to be first in moral excellence and first in generosity. But before all that, he demonstrated that we need to be first in love. The record books are filled with people who are first and filled with people who are claiming to be the best. But on this day, none of that matters unless we can demonstrate our efforts to reach out to a world filled with hurt and despair and offer love. We need to reach out and touch, reach out and talk, reach out and listen, reach out and respond. May we find a way to do the work of Unitarian Universalism during the COVID-19 pandemic, racial and civil unrest, 20% unemployment, voter fatigue, and a broken U.S. Congress. Friends, may you and I strive to be the hammers of freedom as we knock down the walls of division and separation, one brick at a time. Let us not forget that work must be done here at home first and foremost. The report titled Widening the Circle of Concern by the UUA Commission on Institutional Change recommends our congregations need, quote, covenant and commitment, not comfort, as the binding fabrics of Unitarian Universalism, end quote. Let us not push back on our own discomfort. Today, gratitude fills our hearts for the power of virtual technology, which enables these two beautiful congregations to reach across the thousands of miles and unite as one. I give thanks to my wonderful and supportive, professional, and wise colleague, the Reverend Jeanne Pupke, for her collegiality, and to the people of First Richmond Unitarian Universalists for their warmth and community building spirit. And I give thanks to the people of UU Las Cruces for their ability to embrace change and to become a force of love and transformation here in our community. We pray for all persons who struggle with grief, despair, loneliness, homelessness, financial concerns and issues, acute and chronic medical conditions, and those trying to find their way, their purpose, and their calling in this world. May each of us be a thread in the fabric of hope, compassion, and love for one another, our families, and our communities, and especially this world in this time. We ask this and the prayers of our hearts into the silence. We ask this in the name of all persons present and absent, known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, and all helpers of humankind. Let us all say in unison, wherever we may be, Amen, Ashe, and let it be so.
There are people who would rather live in splendor and brag about the silver and gold. Yes, people who would trade life's promise for their glorious gold. There are people who would rather live in mansions and people who would rather live abroad. But I'd rather have a little log cabin by the side of the road. I'd rather live by the side of the road and try to help those with a heavy load than to be a king or a millionaire and live in mansions and bright array. I'd rather do a neighborly deed for a traveler here or a friend in need. I'd rather live by the side of the road and help some pilgrim along life's way. I'd rather live by the side of the road and try to help those with a heavy load than to be a king or a millionaire and live in mansions in bright array. I'd rather do a neighborly deed for a traveler here or a friend in need. I'd rather live by the side of the road and help some pilgrim along life's way. Yes, help some pilgrim along life's way.
The Church Has Left the Building, words by Margaret Weiss. The church is not a place, it is a people. The church is not only a steeple above the tree-lined streets and cars, rather, it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and of justice. The church is not walls built stone upon stone, held together by mortar, but rather person linked with person, linked with person. All ages and genders and abilities, a community built on the foundation of reason, faith, and love. The church is not just a set of doors open on Sunday morning, but the commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts, creaking open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience and radical welcome. The church is not simply a building, a steeple, a pew. The church is the gathering together of all the people and experiences and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts. Gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache and pick up hope and love, for the church is us, each and every one of us, together a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it.
At the church where I served my internship, every Sunday morning, a talented crew of people would take out a whole bunch of yards of fabrics out of boxes. They'd hang the fabrics, they'd bring art out of tubs, and flowers that they'd selected. And they'd transform a really small and uninteresting looking auditorium into a church. The first church that hired me invited me to come and serve, and I discovered that every Sunday morning our first job was to clear away the rummage sale. Yeah, the place we rented from ran a continual rummage sale. And it was staffed with volunteers, and so nobody ever re-straightened after they unstraightened. As a result, we'd come in and there'd be barbecue implements and cat beds and odd lots of dishes and things all over the place that we'd have to squeeze the folding chairs and the chalice in order to make sacred space. So I learned early that a church is not its building. You can do a lot no matter where you are. And the reality is, I even preached one time behind a basketball backboard. Yeah, really. We were in the middle of a renovation here in Richmond, and the backboard for the basketball court where we held our services got stuck in the not quite up position. So it was down really low and we had to duck under pretty much to be seen. But we did it, and it was fine, and it's a good and funny memory for all of us. So a church is never its building. And that's a really important thing to remember during COVID days. You know, it's more than the pews where we sit. It's more than the kitchen where we serve. It's more than the classrooms where we learn. But we get used to these things and we start to imagine that the church building is the church, but it's not. It never is. It's always something more, something much more beautiful. Well, this is the time of year where people start to church shop, or at least they have. It's the time in life where they set up for the school year. Remember that? And that's the time they might, if they're looking for a church home, they might go looking. And so we get used to welcoming visitors, at least here in Richmond, in August and September. In January, we have another sort of small group that comes in with lots of New Year's resolutions. And so we welcome another crew. But how do you welcome people when you're not in the building? I mean, you probably have a station where they get welcomed, or their information is gathered, or they're provided with information to take with them, or maybe even just a bag full of good fun things for a child are presented. How do you rely now on that for your new visitors? We are away from our buildings during COVID, and whether we're in New Mexico or in Richmond, Virginia, we have things we have to think about in order to welcome. How can we welcome people when we're not in that familiar old building? I mean, after all, that building's been our billboard. It's been our sign, our lifeline. It gathers people when there are events we host. It introduces people to us just by the way we invite and see others as they come through the door. So how are we going to show respect for the inherent worth and dignity of visitors if we're on Zoom? How can we offer something meaningful to their children so that they too can build a moral compass if we're not in our classrooms? And this is the big one. How are we going to do this during the time of COVID in a way that is enduring and not just a flash in the pan? So today we're talking about what if the church is out of the building? What does it mean? And who are we if we're not in that space? You know, we've got the love of the building. Everybody has their favorite little nook and cranny. I laughed when a Georgia priest had photographs from all his congregants pasted up in their places in the pews. I could do that. I could definitely do that and paste them in every chair, except I don't know what I'd do with the people who sit in the same seat in two different services. I can tell you where they'd sit, and their children, and their mothers or fathers, or the brother who tags along every now and again. So let's get out of that frame a little bit and think about things liberated from our building, because it might offer us new ways of seeing things that will help us even when we return to the building. Our building captures beauty how will we capture beauty and share it with folks? How will we freely find ways to welcome people in? To welcome people in, we have to see them first. Yeah, we have to see them. Do you ever think about how many people you go by in a normal day, pre-COVID, and not really see? It's probably even more now if you're out for a walk. Maybe you don't see them, and maybe masks make it really hard for you. But there's nothing quite like being seen. Like the neighbor who says, "Hi, how are you today? Good to see you. I see your dog's looking good." This is the kind of conversation we're making now. It's stepping back to let somebody in a line at a store safe distance. It's all the things that we're doing now. So how can we see people? And then how can we say, "Come on in"? How can we send a message that we're here? We may not be in the building, but we're here online. We're here on Zoom. We're here on Facebook. We're here on our webpage. What is it we're saying to them on those places? How can we be sure to put our personality, our sincere commitment to their inherent worth and dignity right up front in all those places? You know, it's said that Unitarian Universalists don't proselytize. They don't evangelize. Well, let's put it a different way. We believe that our lives are the sign of who we are and what we value. Are you being a very good billboard these days? We shouldn't just sit home and imagine that everyone will stumble in and find themselves where they need to be, because they won't. Because right now, probably more than any time, people need a new place. A place that's not family and friends, because family and friends might be far away, but is more. And it needs to be a place that is radically committed to welcoming people in. I hope all of our congregations are that, but I've been to a few that test the theory. When I walk in unannounced, nobody knows who I am, I find some disturbing things sometimes. Let's check in and see if our virtual self is as welcoming as we intended to be in our real self. It's just that we realize that people will have some challenges finding us. We have a big Black Lives Matter banner hanging. Causes a little bit of trouble every now and again. Maybe. People get uncomfortable with it. But every now and again, in the past at least, a car that was containing a whole family would get out, and then stand beneath the banner and try to take a selfie. Members of our church would rush out to offer to help, so that the whole banner and the whole family could be seen in the photograph. Those people were Black. And the fact that this largely white church, but growingly multicultural church, hangs that banner when it wasn't fashionable meant a great deal. A car full of VCU students tumbled out one day. They went around in a circle and came back because they could not believe what they saw. I took their picture. I invited them to come back. And as they departed, the last young man, who was still taking pictures, turned around and said, "Thank you. Thank you. I never expected to see this, and it brought me such joy today." What is it that will bring joy to a newcomer? That's what we have to start asking. Let's not ask them to join something where they can do hard labor. Let's put them on the stewardship committee or the finance committee, or let's put them on the board. Never. We've got to fight that impulse whenever it arises or whenever someone thinks it's a good idea. Let's instead ask them, what do we do around here that would feed your soul, that would make it easy for you to show up, that would delight you? That's our first question always. And as we grow in love and commitment to our congregations, we learn there are other things that need to be done, yes, and we take our turns. But in the time when we're welcoming new people, as we should be right now, what will we offer? Can we welcome and see and ask what matters? Can we hear their story? How will we do that? Not simply by zipping onto Zoom and off. How can we invite them to get to know a few people? How can we have a coffee hour, a separate one maybe, on a Tuesday morning? Or how could we have our family meet their family by sharing favorite books? Or how could we simply let them know how welcome they are? We can't just rely on our building anymore. It's not with us on the screen. Probably yours is like ours, a place of great fondness. People love it. We have great stories. If you're here for a long time, you know all the jokes and who got locked in what closet and all those kinds of things. But the truth is, the congregation is always so much more than its building, even though we tend to forget it. In our church, it's when the young children introduce a new friend who's here for the first time in class, the first time their parents have come. One of the things they share is information sharing, and they take them up from the classroom and show them where the candy dish is. I consider this the ultimate compliment, that our young children feel that they own this place and they would like to share hospitality with their friend by showing them where the candy dish is on the desk upstairs. Makes me very happy. You have things in Las Cruces, no doubt, that are like that, and there are other things in Richmond. And every UU church probably has them. But right now, how are we going to welcome without the candy dish? Every congregation needs its members thinking about this, how to be hospitable, how to commit to seeing other people, how to participate kindly and in a welcome fashion on Facebook, and God, even Twitter. People want to be with us on a journey of spirit. They just don't know where to find us or how to find us. If they knew, they'd be here. So you and I have the responsibility to live out loud who we are and to say, hey, you might enjoy this thing we're doing at my church. Hey, you might find this something that you could get involved in. Hey, are you registering people to vote? So are we. Want to join up with us? That's how it gets done. People will want to be with us when we reach out to them, when we see them, when we include them. People will want to be a part of us when we remember it's not just people stumbling in and we hope you find your way, good luck. This is the time of year when we have to rethink everything, including without our building. So let me read to you just a little portion from what Reverend Gretchen Weiss shared with us in our reading today. I do know Gretchen, sorry. She said this: the church is not simply a building, a steeple, or a pew. The church is the gathering of all the people and experiences, and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts, such that we say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartache, and pick up hope and love. May it be so. It's time for our offerings. The Church of Las Cruces will receive your donations. You can go to the website, or you'll see a slide at the end of this service which will inform you as to how to give to your home church. We know you want to support it generously. And if you are a member of First Unitarian, our Share the Plate this month is for Circles RVA. Circles RVA is an organization which reaches across different places in the community to connect those who can support and love one another through the challenges of life, so that wealth can be created, and hope can be instilled, and joy can be shared. We hope you'll support Circles RVA this week.
Today's benediction is by the member of the UU Las Cruces Church, Miss Bonnie Sandy Bostrom, and it's a poem titled Shanti. There is a sweetness in this dear repose that touches the heart, and the heart opens in a peace suffused with love. There is no world outside this meditation, no strife, worry, or pain. There's only love and a peace that is waiting like a door for anyone to enter. We can walk through the open door, but we must leave behind all fear and concern for self, for what we wanted and did not find, for what we found and did not want. The seeker can rest in the knowing that what we seek is also seeking us. Just open the door. It's already there. Amen.
All we've been given by those who came before, the dream of a nation where freedom would endure, the work and prayers of centuries have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I give my best to you. Each generation, from the plains to distant shores, with the gifts they were given, were determined to leave more. Battles fought together, acts of conscience fought alone. These are the seeds from which America has grown. Well, let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings that I received. let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I give my best to you. For those who think they have nothing to share, who fear in their hearts that there's no hero there, know each quiet act of dignity is that which fortifies the soul of a nation that never dies. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best